Welcome back to the Tim and Steve Show. I am Tim Beard.
I'm Steve Morris.
What's going on, Steve?
Not much. How are you?
Not bad. You?
Good.
Making it? It's raining.
I know, that's good.
It's good. It's really good. The garden really needs it. We've been watering every day anyways, but it's really dry. Except the lower section. I didn't water that for the last couple of days because it's kind of wetter than it probably should, which it's not horrible, just it holds the water down there for some reason pretty good, so it's kind of sloped that way maybe a little bit, but yeah, things looking good. Well, we did discover these little green bugs on our plants that were eating them, so we sprayed them with some stuff, so hopefully that gets rid of them, because I was like, what's going on? My Brussels sprouts look awesome, like really good, and then I'm like, there's all these holes in them. At first I was like, well, maybe they're snails. Someone was like, put Epsom salt in them. I flip the leaf over, and there's a green, looks like a caterpillar, and so I sprayed all that, so hopefully they'll disappear. I was like, no, this isn't for bugs to eat my vegetables.
I got a couple plants that have some bugs attacking them. They say that healthy plants won't get attacked by bugs. So, I don't know. I put some fertilizer out, pulled more weeds this morning.
Nice.
I haven't sprayed anything yet.
Yeah, didn't really want to, but these things were eating it hardcore. I'm like, ah.
Well, I got some organic stuff, and last year maybe the plants were a little too young because some of them ended up, it hurt them. The organic spray messed up my plants. So anyway, I just got to get out there, and I'm going to let them grow a little bit more and see if they'll get a little healthier with this rain and fertilizer. Maybe that'll prepare them. I got a couple of tomatoes that are up on the patio that are too big now for whatever pot they came in. Like they're potted plant tomatoes, but the water dries out every day and they start wilting, and they got a lot of bugs on them, some white flies. I got to figure out what I'm going to do with them.
Yeah. Someone has said, too.
I don't want to put them in the garden because I don't want all those white flies, even though there's probably some already down there, I'm sure.
You don't want them to end up in there.
Yeah, so I just got to find a spot. I was thinking about just digging a hole in the front yard somewhere. Because they look good. There's a bunch of flowers on them. I need to spray them again. I don't know. But anyway, they're two big ones. I didn't even count those in my total.
Of your tomatoes?
Yeah.
180 something?
170 plus. I got a bunch that are growing in the aisles.
Yeah, I noticed we were down there. I'm like, hey, what's this one? It just come up from last year. Like, it's weird. I don't know if Adelina dropped something on her, but we do have a potato plant that's like in between the potatoes and like the corn or something. I'm like, I didn't plant nothing there. No clue, but whatever.
Well, it looks like a potato.
No, it looks like a potato. Top kind of about as high as the other ones too. No clue.
Same leaves and everything?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, no clue. Yeah, so definitely need this rain. That's for sure. Saturday I finished the roof I was doing, so now I just got to do siding and dirt work, so I'm very excited about that because it was really, really hot. I went early, and Amelia helped me, and it was off the roof by 11, but it just got so hot. Like, I don't know how some of these, well, you can't usually in the summer. You have to, like, early in the morning or later in the night because you get to the point where the shingles were, like, cutting real easy because it's just, they get hot. But came out pretty good.
Well, you had mentioned how hot it was, and then I saw there's a runway somewhere, I think over in Britain, or one of their runways somewhere that shut down because the runway melted.
Wow. Well, they're saying...
But you know how you're saying, like, the sun just felt more powerful when you were out there, even though it wasn't necessarily as hot.
Right.
It was
Just,
daunting.
yeah.
And then you had said when you parked your bike that it had sunk in mine over there a little bit. So maybe there's something to your theory, your hypothesis that the sun is producing more.
Yeah, because your asphalt's been here for years. It shouldn't. Usually that doesn't happen.
Right.
Now, if it's new, of course, it gets soft, but I mean, this has been here for, longer than you guys have been here, so it should have. It was kind of weird. That day it was so hot out there. I was like, dude, I left a little mark in the pavement with it. But
something else I had out there did that recently. Like when you said
weird.
that, I was like, wow, that's interesting, because something else I had set down over there for a week or three, much to my wife's chagrin. had left a little indentation.
Oops.
So I don't know, maybe it's bad.
No clue.
The mixture's wrong on it. I don't know. I don't know anything about asphalt.
Yeah, I don't know either. Not that way. Like, yeah, I'm not sure. Usually new stuff. That's why, like, when they put the road on out here, it's like, you know, hope no one goes out there and does something stupid, spinning the tires out, because you can, when it's soft like that, you'll rip it up. And it's like, we just got this road, and we gotta wait
I've
forever.
only seen like one chunk out of it from a snowplow blade. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's like a
haven't seen it,
little. But you can tell it was the blade that
Just caught it. Yeah.
But you know that could end up destroying the whole road.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's like if the bathrooms aren't all nice and like not clean, but like yeah, I mean clean, but not like drawn on and all that. If they look nice, people tend not to want to do damage to them. Where if you go in a bathroom and just like doesn't look like they care, they're like, ah, whatever, we can write on the wall too, and
Right.
it's a weird mind concept there. But yeah, we just got the road, so we don't want to be having issues with it.
Beautiful road.
It is. Yeah, so that was my Saturday. We went to
Driving range.
driving range. It was fun. It's just hard to get used to it. Tried right-handed first. I'm a lefty, but which it felt different than like if I throw a ball in my right hand, it looks silly. Like people would say you throw like a girl, which girls don't even throw that way. Like I'd be just kind of like that, and wasn't as bad with the golf club. But then when I used the lefty one, it was a lot better. But it's just trying to get used to like the swing and stuff. It looks so easy when people
Throw
do
like a Fauci.
a Fauci.
There
Yes,
you go.
that's yes.
Because you're right. There are some girls that can throw a lot harder than me and you. Like,
Yeah.
We're talking about some of the girls on our softball team
yeah.
that we probably wouldn't even be able to hit off of.
Yeah.
So we'll use a throw like a Fauci.
Yeah, throw like a Fauci. That's a lot better. Yeah, because we have some girls that I could stand there and then throw the ball and did it go by? Because I didn't see it. Like, and I was telling you, I was like, when we do eventually go golfing, like I think I need an orange ball or red ball or something because I don't know. At first I could see them, but then when it kind of got more towards dusk and they didn't turn the lights on yet, I'm like, it felt good. I don't know where it went or if it went anywhere. You know, like maybe I was still like, oh yeah, I went over there, and I'm like, no clue. Couldn't tell you.
Let me get you some glasses. I need to get some
Yeah.
reading glasses. Or I need to start wearing them.
Yeah, I got to get something. I gotta do
Wearing
something.
them.
Yeah,
I'm getting lazy on my pronunciation of words.
that's all right. You know, it's all good. I like our new shirts. This one's Anti-Commie Voters Club.
Oh, nice.
Yours is FJB.
Yep.
The last of the shirts finally come in, and
We'll see how this is received at Best Buy today.
nice. Probably be received quite well by most people.
Got a new hat. Zeta got me.
Big Sky County country.
Country.
Just got that out there with their UFOs.
She-
Montana was that one from?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
from Montana. Big Sky Country. That's
Yeah.
Montana's nickname, I think. Mickey watches some horrible show called Big Sky.
I thought I heard.
This is
something
the
with
worst
Big Sky.
show on TV. I usually end up sitting there watching it with her, and it is just horrible. I guess it's more like a soap opera, but a little bit better production value. And so I can't get past the fact that I'm just watching a really bad soap opera with good, production value. It's horrible. Anyway, it's called Big Sky.
Yeah, I thought I've heard of that. Big Sky. Yeah. So she's back. Brought the puppy back.
Got the puppy.
I have not met the puppy yet. After the show, going and check out the puppy. And Nikki brought pizza back from Buffalo, which was really good.
I was a little disappointed in it.
Ah,
Zeta was too. But I appreciate my father-in-law getting that for us. I think he got it for us. So I won't.
Thank you,
I'm
man.
not complaining, but it didn't. Like the sauce was either too saucy or it wasn't. To me, it was the sauce. Everything else was good, but the sauce was.
that happens though.
Yeah,
You'll go down to Village and have a pizza. And I'm like, man, just isn't normal. Then I go down there. I'm like, that's the pizza I'm used to. I think it happens sometimes. Maybe it was
like
a different
shift.
Or,
Or something.
yeah, or
like-
just I think sometimes, especially like I know with Effie down the Village, she said that there's things she can't get. Like I've used this sauce for 20 years, 30 years, or whatever, and I can't get it anymore. So I had to switch to this, and so I think that's some of what happens. because you go down there and I'll be like, oh, those aren't the chicken fingers I'm used to. Well, just a supply issue as far as that goes. But yeah, I thought it was good. But I've only had it twice? No, 3 times she's brought it back. And that was back towards the winter, so it was easy for her to bring it back, leave it in the car. And
Yeah.
I never thought of that when I'm like, hey, you should have Nikki bring us pizza back. And I'm like, man, it is kind
Yeah,
of
she had to
summer.
break it
But
down, put it in the cooler.
yeah, yeah.
So that could have had something to do
That
with
could
it,
have
too.
something to do with it, too. But it was good. Different from around here. You know, the pizza's just a little
Yeah.
different. And,
No, I liked it. It wasn't like when I took that first bite, like it wasn't
You're like, hey, this is a little
exact
different.
same as what I remember. And it could be the same, but maybe like you said, it's because it was frozen. You know, she left it out in the car and it a little fresher maybe than sitting in an igloo for 24 hours or 12 hours, however long it was.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, then trying to think. The weekend just feels like it was like long, even though it wasn't, because I spent Saturday morning working, my actual job that I'm doing, and then I went to the land and did some stuff, and then yesterday I moved a bunch of dirt, just trying to get things done.
Yeah, my garden's getting about ready to put some pictures up to
Yeah, every time I
show
get
it
up,
off. It's getting.
I look over
can
there
you
now,
tell
and
it's getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, you can tell stuff's really starting to come up, and I finally have some flowers on some of my squash plants. Picked a cucumber like 2 days ago. There's another one there I saw today, and then I saw a little tomato on the ground, and I'm like, what happened on that one? Apparently, it's the one the baby grabbed before Andrew could get to her. But yeah, a lot of that stuff's looking really good. So blueberry
I'm
bushes
excited.
are looking really good,
Oh,
and
good.
yeah,
So they're taking maybe.
they seem to be taking very well. Yeah, I've been watering every day, morning and night, just to make sure that that's working. And then we've got a bunch of blueberries off them here and there, and
Oh, that's nice.
enough for Adelina to eat them because she loves berries. Of course, if you bring her to the store and give her like a little package of raspberries before you get out of the store, gone. So Andrew's at Shaw's or something the other day, or Market Basket, I don't know. Get up to the counter and she runs it through, and the lady's like, "Do you know this one's empty?" And he's just like, "Yeah, she ate them. I'm going to pay for them because that's what people do." Well, that's what good people do, anyways. And yeah.
Well,
it's funny.
I wouldn't have allowed her to eat them. Like Nikki, it drives me nuts. She'll grab, which I guess maybe they allow it or whatever, but like she'll always grab like a bottle of water and walk around and drink it like from the cold section, and then pay for an empty water bottle. And I'm always like, "You're gonna get arrested for stealing. You haven't paid for that yet." Like that's
Because they're probably more used to people stealing them than they are just paying for them or something. Yeah,
So
I
don't
get it.
know. Like I'm always,
I mean, like, I think there's some vegetables you buy by weight. So yeah, if you're eating
but
those,
are like
it's-
buy a package.
yeah, these are by the package either way. So I think it just keeps her fairly content in the store.
I think there was a Golden Girls episode about this where was it Sophia would like eat the orange before she checked out or something? I don't know. That's probably why I'm like, don't eat in the store because of what happened on Golden Girls when I was like 10 years old or whatever.
Yeah,
Some episode I saw, a very special episode.
and you're new, like, don't do it anymore. Can't do this. So yeah, the whole experience with the chicks this time and turkeys, yeah, it's like a failing miserable. I think I'm at like, I don't know, 6 or 7 dead at this point. Like,
This is of the broilers or whatever.
yeah, like the new,
Meat
yeah, the
birds.
new, yeah,
Not your egg layers. They're doing well.
yeah. The egg layers are great. I mean, I got them there 17 weeks old, but I don't know. I don't know. Like, they have heat, they have everything they're supposed to. It's the same as we've always done, and I figured I'd get them from a different company this time than the last one I got because I thought maybe that was some of it, but I don't know. It's kind of frustrating though because like the turkeys are $7 a piece. Yeah, I don't know. Like I might have two turkeys left maybe out of
wow.
6, and then a bunch of the chicks have died. I just don't like. I don't get what's going on.
I have no clue.
Yeah, I mean the normal, just doing the normal stuff like we've always done, and yeah, I don't know. Just kind of frustrated by that. I mean, I'm sure some of it is like chicks are more apt to die when they're young like that than say like a puppy or something because it's just numbers, right? That's why I probably a hen lays an egg every day because sustainability of the the animal, I guess.
Flock.
But
or
with the
whatever you
flock,
call
yeah.
it,
But man, that's like a lot of that's a big number. So I don't know. But I did find a rooster. Someone I saw it on Facebook. The person had just posted it and said like, "Hey, if it doesn't work this time, like, it's going to be a freezer bird." And I'm like, "I've been wanting a rooster because we like to have the eggs that we are getting now. We can have them fertilize some, and we can incubate them, not innovate, and then have our own chicks that way." Which I'd be interested to see if that is better. I mean, because these birds come from, I think it was like Ohio or something. So they're mailed in this container with like 50 in each container, and they have all these holes and stuff. So I'm like, well, they don't get any heat during this period of time either. Then they go to the store, and then you got to pick them up. You bring them to your place. So I'm sure that's a lot to do
A
with
lot of stress on them,
a
too.
lot of stress. Yeah, that's a lot of stress, really.
Yeah, it stressed me out just flying from Ohio to
Yeah.
hanging out in Lev for a few days.
Let alone not being in a box with holes in it.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
That would be even more stressful.
Put me in a box with like 9 or 10 strangers with holes poked in it.
Probably wouldn't be fun either.
I'd be ready to
I'd be
keel over myself.
I wouldn't be happy about that. So, yeah, I'm trying to think. So there's a selectman meeting tonight at 6:30. If anyone's interested in that, and then the position of the day for the school is a high school social studies teacher. And then I also saw on the school site that if you're interested in enrolling your child or children in kindergarten, it's an important process to get started now. And as you're making important enrollment decisions, your child has to be turned 5 by the 30th of September. So if they turn 5 after that, they're not eligible until next year. So as long as they're 5 by that. So if you have any questions, reach out to SAU and they can answer all those for you. And mandatory meetings for the sports for the middle school, August 3rd at 5 at the Wheeler Gym, and August 4th at 5 at the Wheeler Gym for the high school. And how to do that? Farmers market every Friday, but this Friday is going to be the block party from 5 to 8. So farmers market 3 to 6, block party 5 to 8, live music, food trucks, vendors, all kinds of stuff going on. So check that out. That should be really fun. And then this coming Sunday's Concert on the Common is Sound Investment. So there's some local stuff going on. The other thing I did see, and I'll put this slide up at the end of the show, but it says next week's events, but it's this week because they put it up last week on Friday, I believe it was. But this is part of the Library Arts Center or the library. There's some different events. So today it's at 4:30 a teen fandom trivia. Tomorrow at 10:30 is a mermaid fairy houses. Watch for a rain date, but I think tomorrow's supposed to be decent. So 11 o'clock on Wednesday is a family story time with Road to Independence donkeys. Okay, so they must have donkeys coming in because I'm pretty sure that's a non-profit, the Road to Independence donkeys. 3 to 8 stuffed animal sleepover drop-off time on Thursday, and then 11 a.m. on Friday is a stuffed animal sleepover pickup party and slideshow, and then 2 o'clock on Saturday is an author visit with Annie Hartnett at the Sugar River Community Room, which I believe that is at the next to the DMV, the Sugar River Community Room. So anyways, something you're interested in. Library Arts Center has a bunch of stuff going on this summer, so too much to us to even really mention on the show because people aren't going to remember these things. But there's a lot of kind of events for kids and young adults and all that going on. So
I wanted to touch base. You were talking about the sports and everything. We have the snack shack / announcing stand being moved back.
Yep.
Throughout the summer, and it looks like most of it's going to be all volunteer, donated time and supplies. So that's great. Appreciate LaValle's. Stevens is helping out with tear down. And I want to say they may have a lead on free concrete.
Nice. Yeah, I saw that Ornella's got a dumpster out there, and they took some of the stuff out. So
he's donating the
dumpster,
dumpsters and the removal or the trash
nice.
Removal. So Kevin O'Nella, appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it'd be good.
There's about 6 different either companies or people involved with doing it for free, basically, to make it a lot better for the town. So appreciate that to everybody out there that's pitching in.
Yeah,
And so
absolutely.
you'll see that work going on here over the next few weeks, trying to get it ready for football season.
Yeah, that's right around the corner. They should be starting training or practices or whatever you want to say, or pre-practice. They do like a boot camp kind of thing. Usually it's just before the season starts, and then they'll start their practices. And so actually that'll be happening pretty soon. It's crazy that we're, well, a little over halfway through July already, so
I know it's going by quick.
it flies. Like, it seems like winter drags, but then we get into the summer, the better weather, it's like, slow
Excuse me.
down.
I just wish I would have planted everything in like the beginning of May when there was no more frost. You know, if I would have though, it would have frosted.
Yeah,
You know, just talking about the passage of time, and
right.
because you drive by and you look out at some people's gardens and you know they had that stuff either
Oh yeah, my
in a glass house,
greenhouse.
greenhouse,
Yeah.
thank you, or they planted it at the beginning of May.
My brother, where he was staying and he moved, but I sent you pictures of that garden.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. Like that had to have been
Think they
planted like
started-
mid-April because that was like June when you sent me
Huge.
that. And it
Like,
was,
jealousy like crazy. I was like, wow, this person knows how to garden. Everything was like a month
and
ahead
it was
of ours.
dark
Like,
green. It looked good.
really good. Like, yeah, I was
Real
like,
nice
somebody
garden.
knows what they're doing here. Like, this is pretty cool. So, yeah. So next year, hopefully, we can get an earlier start on some of this stuff and hopefully get a greenhouse because I think that would be really beneficial.
Yeah, I want one like you were talking about, the mystery
Yeah.
theater type, like a. That's why I said glass house, but greenhouse, a glass greenhouse would be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's just, you know,
It looks nicer and it's made to last.
Right.
Gust of wind's not going to tear it down. You're going to have stuff flapping in the wind for the rest of the time until you replace it.
yeah, because I almost think Bonnie's farm down there in Lemster, which, if you drive down there, usually in the fall, like it's weird. Are they like moving out and it's like they rip off all the plastic off of them? I think it's just because over the winter they know like this probably won't hold up, and then they just redo it every year. Of course, they have a lot, so glass ones down there would be probably millions of dollars, but so that must be some of it. They're like, hey, you know, this
Yeah,
probably
I don't
won't
need
hold
a
up
very
over the
big
winter.
one. I just
No, we
need-
don't need a huge. No,
I need it big enough to where it's sturdy, it's not going to go anywhere, and then I can move around
right.
and plant enough to. Because like right now, doing it in my kitchen, starting all my seedlings in there is kind of messy.
Challenging too.
Yeah, the dog walks by. Like, well, I bought that 5-shelf
Yeah.
greenhouse from Ocean State. It worked pretty good, but my peppers did the best, and I should have rotated them. The peppers are on the top shelf, and so that's why my peppers are already producing, and my tomatoes are just now getting to the height that they should have been a month ago when I planted them.
Yeah, I've
Not
seen-
all of them. Like some of my tomatoes are doing really well, so I don't know if it's the angle, you know, because I have the hills out there. It's not flat, so the shade, the angle, how much manure I put in the hole with it. Because I try to put 2 handfuls of manure everywhere where I planted everything, just to give it some fertilizer to last the first couple of months.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like same thing. I've got like one in particular, but really 2 tomato plants that are like right next to the ones that are just beautiful, like big, like really looking good. That just the color is more like real dark green, almost to more of black, I guess, like in between. So I'm like, I don't know, maybe it's too much.
much water?
I'm thinking the opposite because it's so hot. Like it's right in the front, which that always dries up so every day I have to go out and water that. If not, it's just dry, like really dry. So I'm thinking not enough, but I don't know.
Have you dug down past that top layer to see if you need to water?
No.
'Cause
just-
sometimes I walk out in my garden and I'm like, man, I just watered last night because it looks dusty and dry, and it'll already be about 8:30 in the morning, or even 10 o'clock if I go out there after we do the show, and you dig down and it's still moist underneath.
yeah, maybe I'll like
You
check
say
that
you're not
out.
overwatering.
Yeah, maybe in a couple of days. Obviously, this rain
Yeah.
will take a day or two to dry up, and especially around that. Like I said, the other one, all the rest of the garden looks good. Now I've got some corn that's up, pretty good height. And other stuff, it's still probably around a 6-inch height. But I've got a couple that sprouted probably almost 12
I
inch.
drove by somebody's house and their corn was like 4 feet tall already. I'm like, my biggest one's probably 2.5, 3 feet, and it's only like 1 or 2.
I know. I'm
And the
like,
rest
man,
are-
hopefully we still have to grow corn. So it's like, hopefully
There's plenty of time.
yeah, we're still early in the season. But I've always wanted to take and, if I had the money, find someone who has a big field of corn and I have to pay them for it, obviously. And then just go out with it, like through the corn with like a car. You can't see what you just smoke through the
Like
corn.
in the movies.
Yeah, that would be so much fun. Probably have some sort of like GPS or something so you know where the end of it is. Like, oh yeah, there's a stone wall over. Oops, hit the stone wall. But I thought that'd be so much fun. Like, you just driving down the road and you look over this huge cornfield. Like, man, how much fun it would be just to fly
See,
out
when I
through
see
that.
a big, huge cornfield, I always think that's a little creepy. I can handle my 100 some odd stalks of corn I got planted out there at a nice rectangular
They've got thousands.
patch, but they have like acres upon acres.
A lot of that's cow corn that they just
Yeah.
cut it with a machine, but not ours. Then they'll do mazes like up in where's up in Vermont? They do like night, and there's not night anymore in New England. There's a haunted corn maze up there. I've been once, and it's good. It's really good. But they have a regular maze up there too, which I was horrible at it. You got people on platforms that like lead people out, but it's pretty cool. Just some of the things they can do with them. And there's this place up in Vermont that is just a big thing every year. It sells out every year because they only do so many tickets, and it's like 2 weeks before Halloween, and they'll do the night one, a haunted corn maze. It's not like you have to find your way out at night, but it's just this walk through path and stuff, and you're going through the corn, and like think people in costumes
Yeah,
just
see,
jump
that's
out
why
at you. And
I can't handle
That's
that.
why you
'Cause
can't,
then
yeah.
If I ever find myself in charge of hundreds of acres of corn, I won't ever want to go out there after dusk. At least not like,
I
with
think
my
of Jeepers Creepers when you think of
shotgun or
corn.
rifle with me. Maybe I might be all right.
Nothing ever kills the Jeepers Creepers though.
Yeah, I didn't watch that movie because the director, is a creeper.
He's a creeper.
Like in real life, yes. You can fact check me on that, but yeah.
I think most of the movies that we've seen probably is some sort of
Has-
relevance to
yeah,
that same
like
comment.
Half of Nickelodeon.
Yeah. My meme of the day. So I was going to bring something up it's a message I got from someone, but Steve's like, yeah, I'll leave it be. So I'll leave it be. Just a nut job lefty. Someone I went to school with sends me this nasty email, which is comical. But so this meme's for you. Sometimes I look at people and think, really? That is the sperm that won? Yeah.
I'm going a little racy.
Yeah, a little racy on that one. So then, some of our stories today are more headlines and some are more discussion, but systematic failures is a new report from nearly 400 law enforcement officers at Uvalde school shooting. I'll blame all agencies for I thought I had it.
Lackadaisical.
Lackadaisical approach. Yeah, I don't even know what to say about that. Yeah, I don't even know. Like, I'm at the point, like 400 law enforcement agencies.
So lackadaisical, by definition, lacking enthusiasm and determination, carelessly lazy. So
Did you watch the video?
Which one
So
of the?
there's a couple, but there's one of the officers in the hall, and there's a couple of them. No, this is during the shooting. Like, this isn't like after. This isn't whatever. This is during it. Like, go over to the hand sanitizer and like hand sanitize their hands, and so like that was what was on your mind as kids were being murdered. Sanitizing your hands.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me.
I mean, were you trying to wash the blood off your hands that wasn't quite there yet? Like, I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, there's people here.
See, I don't know how they could be doing that because there had to have been shots going off while they were in there,
So,
like while they're in the hallway, because
yeah,
the guy kept shooting people
right.
after he had barricaded himself in there. And I'm saying that because of the 911 phone transcripts.
Right.
And I don't know. I'm a I I tend to question everything, and they did a I don't know. I just that's sad that I saw a picture of a guy like checking his phone. I saw a still shot of the guy putting hand sanitizer on, but they also didn't they do rehearsals for this kind of stuff just a month or two before. So I don't know. It could be.
Yeah, they just had
I don't
training.
put anything past anybody anymore these days because of all
Mhm.
the other news that's coming out, like about Burks
Yeah.
and what she may or may not have done based on her own words.
It's, I don't know. Someone in this group, now obviously all these 400 officers weren't in the school at the time, and there were that amount of officers there. But it literally took the guy whose kids were in the school, who was a Border Patrol agent, to go in and be like, well, screw this, I'm going to end this stuff. Like they should have been there pretending those were their kids in the school, because that would be what you're supposed to do as a police officer, protect those kids. And if you were to die in that, shooting, you laid your life down, and that's just part of your job. Like, no one wants that to happen, but just like a firefighter knows that every time you go in a burning building, you might not come out, but you gladly accept that task because that is what you do. So,
Yeah. Unless you're in it for the money, right? If you're just doing it as a job and
nah,
if you're not committed,
none of the, there's not enough money in it. There's not, like, firefighters don't get paid enough to do it for money, or even cops. They don't get paid enough for money, so,
fair enough.
I mean, there could be some way up, that get paid huge money, but you're talking like federal level,
Well, maybe those guys are like, I don't get paid enough to go get shot by this guy.
it's just not in the mind of
I mean,
most police
I'm
officers.
just speculating.
Yeah, I know you
I'm
are.
not saying that's what happened. I'm just trying to rationalize
And you
because
look at a lot of police.
because you have the firefighter experience, I have my military experience, and when you're before you end up in a situation like that, I know that like when I was in Iraq, I went through different things in my head, like what if this happens? Like Chief always says, it takes practice, rehearsal. In the military, we rehearse just like you guys are probably training and maintaining equipment and everything at the fire department. So those things go through your head. So I don't understand. And I think Chief even said it on air one day, which is like there had to be somebody in that hallway, like itching to go in there. Like what happened? Like where's the failure point? And I don't think we've gotten to the point of where the failure is. Just to say
No.
it's a lack of communication. Like
No,
there's
you don't even need
there's more
communication.
than a lack of communication because if like that's a like I want to not morals and values, but it's kind of like that in the sense of to protect and serve.
Right.
Like you
And a lot of
know that there's a chance that you could die any given day that you go out as a cop. Like hands down.
sure,
Even here in Newport, you make a traffic stop and somebody is
that's what's so scary about it. You never know.
right. So that's what I'm saying. Like they had to have had inklings that maybe not a school shooter because you don't ever want that to happen. But like if you ever have to go in and save somebody, like what do you do? How are you going to respond? And you think about those things. Like I thought about those things. Like if convoy was attacked or whatever, like
Right.
what am I going to do?
Right.
Which we do that kind of stuff, but you think cops do that too, and based on
And out of those 400 law enforcement officers, I bet like I would take a fair guess that probably 20% of them have military experience. It may even be more. So
yeah, this whole case just confounds me. Of
there's just something weird with it. Something
something's off. with
very
the whole,
evil about it beyond just the shooter. Like, something's not right.
yeah, there's something not right.
Something's not right here. And as far as I'm concerned, that there's some people that are involved with this that I don't care. They should charge them with negligent homicide. I feel like they're accessories to this whole thing. Like, and we'll see what happens in the end. And I don't know. I can't imagine like being in the hall. They're hearing shooting, and you walk over and sanitize your hands, and you're acting all cool, calm, and collective. Like, even
Yeah,
if
that's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't make any
sense.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, is that picture or video from that day? Like, I'm just asking the question.
Right.
It probably is. If they're saying it is, but my mind can't wrap my head around it
Right.
to see another man doing that, knowing that
Kids,
horrible things
young
are
kids.
going on.
Yeah. And it's not like they were at a drug house and it was a raid and, I could see where they might be like, well, I'm going to not risk my life quite as much because these people are in a situation that they put themselves in. Not that anyone is less valuable than the other, but these are like 10 and 11-year-old kids. Like, so that's the first thing. Like, if you went to a fire call and you pulled out a child that was been in a fire, like, you're going to do CPR on that child all the way until the doctor calls you off and says, no, stop. It's too, because that's what you do, no matter what.
Yeah, that's why it doesn't.
That's what
This
doesn't
whole
make
story
sense.
is just it gets weirder and weirder as the weeks go on and more information
Yeah.
gets released. It's almost like seriously.
And police have the same mindset as a firefighter.
No, well,
It's the same.
Chief will sit right here and be like, I don't know what the hell is going on. Like that's
Yes.
not how my officers are trained, right? Like
Yeah.
I guarantee you.
Yeah. Chief would have went in there. I go, no, this is what you do. I don't know. So that's just the more
Yeah, that's
latest,
just
the latest thing. Yeah. So that's more the serious, one of the more serious stories of the day. But so then these are more political stories for a few minutes. But Texas Rep Mayo,
Maya,
yeah,
the Maya from South Texas.
yeah, Aurora Flores declares Hispanics have had enough of the Democrats' far left policies. And what's funny, because if you wait a little bit, you'll have some lefties that will call her, I don't know, she's Hispanic, so you can't call her like an Uncle Tom or, I don't know, you have black people called, white supremacists. So like, how can that be they're black?
Well,
But like,
they've applied that to
Hispanics
black
as well.
commentators, or even, didn't they say that about
Did they say that about?
Justice Clarence Thomas?
Yes.
Didn't they call him a black white racist or something?
Yes. This is how dumb these people are. Seriously. Like, you can't even say, like,
Well, yeah,
just
like
dumb.
why wouldn't you just disagree and be like, I disagree? He's siding
They
with
can't.
what I think is
Right.
a racist policy. That's one thing, but to call him, yeah, it just doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. It's just insane.
Yeah, you can't think about it too long. That's why I got rid of cable. I can't see
Yeah.
any commercials or the
One of our
getting bombarded with all of it.
yeah, one of our listeners that listens all like every day messaged me over the weekend and said that he had saw a story or whatever that only like 42% of Americans watch the news nowadays. And I said, well, it's probably a good thing because the news isn't really news. But then at the same time, it's like, well, it's also not great because then they probably get their news from like Facebook and different places, which sometimes there's news on there, but also there's a lot of slanted,
Yeah, well, even like our stuff.
I mean,
isn't really
everything's
news.
slanted.
We're just commenting on
right.
crazy art.
Yeah.
Most of us, other than like when we do like a deep dive on something,
Right.
Most of it's just our commentary on
the
weirdness
topic
of the
yeah.
topic and the
Right.
alleged
Because a new
reporting on it.
a real news story for us would be we went out and investigated this ourselves kind of thing, or
Yeah, we're just spewing our half-cocked
opinions about stories we've
But I mean, I do a lot of reading. You do a lot of reading too. But you're right. It's all that's just like with the whole Uvalde thing. Like something just doesn't seem right about that.
I know.
And if that's the case, if they're really
You know what you should do? You should ask Grandma Susie and say, hey, so we see these stories here, way out here in New Hampshire. Like, what does she see in Texas? Because it's home, it's there. Just to see if there's any difference, I'd be just curious. Or if she's heard things from people there, like, because I feel like it's important. Just like the border stuff, like, hey, what's going, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on there?
Yeah, like the border stuff doesn't necessarily affect us here right now.
It would
in New
take
Hampshire.
forever to.
It
Yes.
affects us in the sense that our tax dollars are going
Right.
to support them. Meanwhile, Social Security is allegedly insolvent, has been because the government keeps borrowing against it. All these things, and it's, I don't know, it just frustrates me.
Yeah, it is. It's just, it's crazy, man. So here's another one. Here's a Here's a good story. This is a good story for term limits, but so Pelosi's husband has bought $3 million in semiconductor stock, which, maybe that's not
So we should have done that too, or is it too late?
That's probably too late now. So Nancy Pelosi's husband buys millions in semiconductor stock before the Senate votes on a $52 billion in subsidies for a tech company or industry. Excuse me.
Why is our government funding all these businesses?
They wouldn't
Isn't
fund
that
my
why,
business.
Like, capitalism was supposed to be like survival of the fittest?
Yes.
Either you adapt and provide a product at a reasonable cost and price, or you get knocked out and the next competitor comes in. Now, we don't necessarily want to use all foreign-made semiconductors, but at the same time,
Well, 90. I think it's
isn't the theory if this guy falls, somebody else will step up in his shoes? And like we want it to be obviously an American company,
so the thing with
or
semiconductors,
at least a North America, South America company, right? Something that's still within
non-China or not. Yeah. Well, so here's
within,
the bit.
you know what I mean? Like there's a land there that we can get to, and
Right.
we can overcome.
The biggest thing with semiconductors are, and I can't remember if my number is 100% correct, but I was pretty sure about this. Like 92% of them are made in Taiwan, and that's why it's such an important thing that China doesn't invade Taiwan, because they hold the semiconductors. That semiconductors are in everything, phones, anything electrical has semiconductors. So now China would have, and that's why Taiwan's so valuable to China. It's not really for anything else but semiconductors. And but this is, so if me and you had insider trading information, which this is 100% insider trading, except they made a law that exempts themselves.
I mean, this is
from
only
insider
one
trading.
example.
This is
Republicans
just
do
one.
this too.
Absolutely.
Like,
This
there's
is
a
just
few of them. Like, isn't one of the, I can't remember her name, but her husband's like the head of the SEC or something, or I don't know.
that's they all do it.
Yeah, so it's not just
No, no, no.
Pelosi, it's Democrats
This
and
is-
Republicans use this knowledge to their advantage.
Yet me and you would go to jail for it.
Yeah.
Remember when Martha Stewart went to jail? Wasn't that an FCC?
Our politicians are no longer,
They're not politicians.
yeah, they're
They're criminals that we
some of them
supposedly
have-
elect.
Like, I would consider this criminal, but they'll probably say, well, it's not against the law for us to do it.
Right.
But, like, ethically,
Yeah.
it
Why,
should be.
yeah. Why is it okay for them but not for you or me or anyone else? It just shows you how stacked the
like,
deck is against you
Even
and
if
me.
you worked for said semiconductor company and you saw a memo and then you went and bought a bunch, you would probably trigger something for an investigation, right? It would get triggered, and then you would end up as a middle manager or something that saw something and trying to get ahead, just like the politicians are, because you could see their buy, or maybe you see all their buy orders coming in, you're like, oh, we must be getting this big bailout coming.
So listen to this one.
Anyway.
So on June 15th, leaders of big tech companies wrote a letter to Pelosi, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, and House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy. The tech companies asked Congress to pass competitive legislation to financially help companies such as Alphabet, which I'm not familiar. I've heard
That's
of it.
Google.
Google, okay. Amazon, Microsoft, and Nvidia.
NVIDIA.
NVIDIA, yes, NVIDIA. So let's see. Amazon, one of the richest companies in the world. Alphabet, which you said is Google, richest company in one of the
Well,
rich.
yeah, Alphabet owns Google, Android, all those
So-
subsidiaries.
So these are billion-dollar companies that we need to subsidize for them, because Amazon doesn't pay crap for taxes anyways, but we need to give them tax money because,
No, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, it makes sense that we don't want. So, given 54, or was it, how much was it? We always end up with like 54 billion, but that's what we gave to Ukraine on one of them. But is it somewhere, how many billions of dollars was it?
this one was 54 billion. Ukraine was 39 point something, but then before that it was like
Yeah,
1 point
I think-
something. And
I think Ukraine adds up to 54 or something.
Yeah, it could be, yeah.
It might be more than that now. Yeah, it's just, so strategically, we have, like you said, we don't want the semiconductors. But if you look back at the policies over the last 20 years or longer, go back maybe even to Nixon, we've been shipping everything overseas ever since.
yeah, Yeah.
And we've lost our capacity to build and create, and that's one of the things that made America so awesome, was that, you know, we built things to last. We built great things, and then we shipped
American
all
made
of
meant
it.
something.
Yeah.
It really did.
When I
Like,
was a kid, if something said made in Taiwan, it got taken back to the store.
yeah, you didn't want it because it was garbage.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of flipped. Like, honestly, the stuff made in China, a lot of times is better than the United States made stuff. Which
I don't know if I'd go that far.
some stuff, not ours, but some stuff I've seen is like, this is pretty garbage. It's just not what it used to be. Because it used to be, and I've dealt with tool companies and stuff in the past, and like, yeah, American made's not. It's just not what it used to be.
I know. Well, I have Craftsman tools that my
Right.
dad gave me. that-
Their stuff today is crap compared to
if I were to go buy Craftsman that are now like owned by China, it's not even.
Stanley
the
Tool
same.
bought Craftsman, and then it's not the same.
No.
The quality is not good at all. Used to be able to be lifetime guarantee, like replacement.
Yeah, I used to take them to the
Now they give
Sears
you
with
a
me when I'd
rebuilt
go to the mall
product.
in high school. I would
Yep.
take like 10 tools and just trade them out because
And they give you brand new ones right off the
brand
shelf.
new ones
Boom.
right off the shelf. You just
Not
scan
anymore.
them in. It was the easiest thing ever because I don't like taking anything back. I don't
Right.
like
No,
doing
now
that
they
kind of stuff. And that was easy.
now they just take and say, okay, they'll pull out a box of rebuilt tools and they give that to you and say, all right, here you go. Which,
Yeah, I wouldn't take any of my Craftsman tools. I'll just clean them, and
yeah, it's not worth
which
it.
mine are in pretty good shape. I keep them
Right.
in the toolbox.
So some Fauci news. Should wear my Fauci lied shirt. Maybe I'll wear that tomorrow. But Dr. Anthony Fauci, head of the NIAID, has vehemently, I don't know, I can't speak today nor read.
You need glasses.
Yeah, that's definitely part of it. Denied any gain of function research was conducted, and apparently now there's emails that suggest otherwise, that people at the NIH were saying that, like, they warned them about gain of function research at that lab in Wuhan, and then to kind of go with this story about him is he come out this week or the other day or whatever, which I've kind of heard something similar to this before, but said that he plans to retire before the end of Biden's term. Yeah, because the next president will probably prosecute you, so
Well, I'm sure Biden will pardon him.
yeah, I'm sure. But I don't know how anyone could just.
Well, Dr. Birx is all over the news for saying that she knew that it was fresh out of the box, ready to. Well, I don't know. I don't want to mess up her quote, but basically dimed out the whole situation. Let's see if it comes up on the regular. Oh, yeah. Birx, COVID-19 came out of the box ready to infect.
Interesting.
Admits Chinese lab working on virus. This is from major news sources, so this isn't some conspiracy theory. This is Dr. Birx, who is a New Hampshire native,
Is she?
or Vermont. She's either from New Hampshire or Vermont.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. This is another perfect example why people shouldn't be in these positions forever like that. Like, Fauci's not elected, but we're supposed to listen to everything he says. Like, you're not an elected official. You're a bureaucrat. You know?
Yeah. Well,
If you
Yeah.
do anything long enough in one position, it's bad. Like, I've seen it from personal experience with something that someone was in a position for too long, and it like goes to their head or just changes the dynamic of what it really is supposed to be. Like, and I guess it kind of, in
well,
a way,
you can go back in
power
time.
corrupts,
Like
right?
Fauci was like a rock star before the whole COVID thing, flying around promoting AIDS awareness with Hollywood celebrities, and
He's also the one to mess up the whole AIDS thing. You know, careful, don't shake hands with someone. Like, I remember this as a kid. Like, I forgot about it until some of this stuff come out. I'm like, wait a minute. I always remember my parents always telling me, like, oh, don't touch that, you get AIDS or whatever. Like, when I was like elementary school, and I'm like, that's not AIDS is spread. Like, it has to be bloodborne, whatever. And it's like, but this dude handled that too.
yeah. Right. I mean, there's a place for, bureaucracies, but our government is so bloated. Because, I mean, you think about how many lines so he's advising our government, but yet patents medicine or viruses or whatever he patents. I'm not saying which one. I'm saying he's
Right.
got some patents that he gets some money for.
He's not a public servant
Right? Like he's serving the benefit of
himself.
but also the companies that are making these vaccines that he helped,
He's financially benefiting from all of this.
Yeah, that's the best way to say it. He
Right.
has a financial stake on what he is promoting.
Right. Yeah.
I think most of us can admit that shutting down the country for 2 weeks or longer, right? It started off as 2 weeks to slow the spread. Here we are 2.5 years later, and we got people still trying to go back and worry about it.
Yeah.
It's like, I have
Still
moved
people en
on.
masse.
Like,
The WHO threatening people saying, "Oh, this is not over yet." Like, why? Because all of a sudden no one gives a crap about you again, and you
well,
felt
no
a little
one,
like
no
"Ugh."
one got scared of monkeypox. They're trying
No.
to bring that back now that it's July. Yeah, a lot of people don't really care anymore. There's some people out there that do care, and part of that might be because they know somebody who died with it.
Right.
Like that's what I'd want to see: the number of died with versus died from, versus
That's very true.
comorbidities versus age, because we already know that young kids bounce back relatively quickly,
Yeah.
unless they have some other things going
Right.
on.
Severe underlying conditions.
So I saw something, then it just made me think. It was an older, I don't know how old, but it was a comment from, I don't know, the last 20 years, I guess. But it was, because it was on the internet, so everything on the internet lasts forever. But there was an outbreak of measles in a classroom, and then someone was like, "Get your kids vaccinated against measles." Well, if only one kid in there isn't vaccinated against measles, right? Because it's not a lot of people that don't get the measles vaccine, right? It's part of the series that you get as a kid,
Yeah.
right?
Measles only became a big thing once illegals started coming across the border.
Yeah, but I mean, it's been
Because they
around
don't
forever.
vaccinate in
Right, but
South America like we do here.
But
or
my point
Mexico,
is
whatever.
like if you're vaccinated and I'm not, why do you care? Because
Right.
vaccines, well, at least the way that we were always sold them was that, if you're vaccinated, you won't get it, or if you do, it'll be lesser. I don't even remember them saying if you do, it'll be lesser. I
I've
think
never
that's a
heard
new
those words.
thing with COVID.
That's a new thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Because like Lydia is vaccinated against chickenpox, yet she had gotten chickenpox this year,
Yeah, see,
which I'm like, which is rare.
Was
So
it?
I haven't heard it before. I haven't heard anyone with the vaccine that's gotten chickenpox up until her.
But so if a whole classroom has measles, that whole classroom, most of them were probably vaccinated. Is my
Yes.
point.
There's no real fear for
just
them.
room for thought. Like,
Yes.
not trying to say anything other than the fact that if one person isn't vaccinated against whatever, the rest of you are. The rest of you should be fine and not really care about the other person.
Let's sum it up here. I didn't save the meme, but I saw a meme earlier and I shared it because it's funny. Said that if I give my dog 3 rabies shots this year, and that dog still got rabies, I'd start to question some stuff. Fits perfectly.
Yeah.
If you've got your 4th booster shot and you still got COVID, what are you doing? Oh, but I didn't die from it.
Yeah. Well, that's what most people.
Yeah.
The bill of goods they've been sold is that it'll just lessen your symptoms.
Something
right?
they
So
cannot
you take
prove.
it for the symptoms.
Can't prove it.
Which, if it's to relieve symptoms, then we also have people that are out there like, you shouldn't be treating the symptoms, you should treat the cause. Right? So, like, you take medicine to treat the symptoms, but do they ever treat the underlying condition?
There's no vaccine for viruses. There never has been. Now all of a sudden it's like, oh, we have a vaccine for a virus. Nope, viruses are that are on their course. Just ours was the case.
Yeah, because I remember.
No, technically chickenpox is a virus, and there's a vaccine for it.
Yeah, well,
But, like,
I've been around conversations
Yeah.
in the past because of who I'm married to and her
Yeah.
skill set, which is always like, I can't give you an antibiotic. You have a viral infection. You have to let it take its course. And
Yes.
people get angry
Right.
because they want an antibiotic, but you don't take anything for
No.
a viral
Antibiotics are for a
infection.
bacterial, not a virus.
Well, that's what we were always told. So who knows anymore? Because again, we're not medical professionals. We're going off of what we were taught.
Right. We're not giving
You know,
medical advice.
Yeah. This is just
This is just
conversations to make you
Common
think
sense
and-
that we've been, the things we've been told over the years.
Well, it's not even common sense. It's just what we've been told,
Yeah.
and so we've lived our life for X amount of years. Like, oh, like, you don't take antibiotics for,
Right.
a viral infection. Like, you have a viral infection. I'm sorry, I'm not giving you antibiotics, because if we give antibiotics and you don't take them and you don't need them, then it helps the strains become resistant to antibiotics,
Yes, which
or the
is
bacteria becomes.
something becoming an issue in this country because the antibiotics that they pump
And
into
that's
the
been
animals.
going on for a while.
Yep.
So there was a big push to make sure that you're not just giving out antibiotics to give out antibiotics. You give it out when you can confirm that it's bacterial or whatever.
Yep.
So anyway, that's just food for thought.
Yeah. Over the weekend, I've never heard of this person before, which is ironic because I know NASCAR stuff pretty good. But a NASCAR star, Bobby East, 37, was stabbed to death in California at a California gas station while filling up his car. And the suspect, which was this guy all tatted up on his face and everything, but was killed by a SWAT team. But I've never. I think he was like in the truck series or something. I just don't. But just more,
See, I'm the kind of guy that, like, if you have multiple facial tattoos and you're walking towards me, I'm going to immediately start walking away from you.
Yeah.
You can call me judgmental, whatever else, but, like,
I mean, you're stereotyping those people, but
well, and
there you
because
go.
of stories like this.
Yeah. Most.
Mugshot, and like they always, I'm sure there's some really nice people out there that have face tattoos. I'm sure there are, but
This guy had serious face tattoos, though. And I mean, I know, obviously, I have a tattoo. I've got family and friends and all these people that have lots of tattoos, but not many people that I know get them on their face because it just gives you a image that you don't want, right? Like,
yeah. Now there's some cultures to where they have tattoos. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking
No.
about like
yeah,
guy's got like 5 teardrops coming
Yeah.
down his eye,
'Cause
and
he's murdered
maybe
5
a
people.
dragon, something coming up here. Who's it? Bam Bam Bigelow that used to have his skull, I think, was tattooed. It was a wrestler.
well,
But anyway, but you know what I mean? Because they say the teardrops mean that they've
Murdered
murdered
someone.
somebody.
Yeah. that-
So, call me what you will, but I see somebody coming at me, I'm like, I need to walk the opposite direction.
especially if they have a knife.
Yeah, well, especially if he's wielding a knife.
This crazy.
It's a crazy world we live in. I worry about society in general because that guy's just trying to fill up his car. How many people are just going about their daily lives and someone wants to inflict their misery onto them?
Yeah.
Sad.
ICE arrests.
ICE is still around. They hadn't shut that down yet.
Yeah. They don't do much. I mean, what do you have to do as if you're an ICE employee?
Well, that's what I'm saying at this point.
Yeah. I don't know. So this story seemed that's surprising. In that aspect too, is ICE arrested 24 sexual predators amid 5-day operation. And I said, too bad no Epstein clients were arrested. So if ICE is involved, then it should have been 24 sexual predators that are illegally in this country or not citizens of this country. So not technically, no, it should be illegally in the country. Because if you were not illegal, if you were in the country legally but not a citizen, the police would just arrest you. Then maybe they would turn you over to ICE. So, it has to be something with immigration. So,
What was it? Immigration, Custom Enforcement? Something like that?
yeah. So, I don't know. Yay, 24 people off the street, but
That's good.
is it also 24
Don't mess
people that
with
we
kids.
just let walk across the border? And how many more of hundreds of thousands of them are like? This is why legal immigration is what needs to happen. That's all. legal. Come here legally. We don't want people like this coming into our country.
Yeah, because even so, let's say if it's for migratory workers, farmers, that kind of stuff.
Right.
If you and I own a farm and we know that most of the people who are going to come work it are going to come up from Central and South America, then is there not a system in place to where we can request?
There's always been a system in place, but
Exactly.
I
I got no qualms with that. Come up
No.
here, work hard for 4 months, and take your money back home.
Yep. A lot of times Jamaicans will do that too. They'll pick crops and stuff on farms, and I don't have any problem with that. But they're going to go home at the end of it.
But I mean, do they give them work visas?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So that's the right way to do it.
Right. That's the only way there should be to do
Right.
it.
Well, that's why I don't know why we can't do that.
Well, we could.
But then again, here's the problem. We're at 2.1% unemployment. At least that's the last number I looked. It might be a little higher, a little lower. Who knows? But we were at the restaurant the other night. Like 8 tables had people sitting at it. There were maybe 6 people at the bar.
That was.
It was a 10-minute wait for us. 4 tables left while we were waiting after like 2 minutes. We still had to wait another 10 minutes. So, and it's because they don't have anybody working. It wasn't because of
Right.
like some safety protocol or anything. It's because they have unfilled positions there.
Yeah, because when we first walked in, so in the past, if I'd walked in on a Saturday night,
It would have been.
there'd been a line,
Right.
and I'd have been like, I'm like, I walk in, I'm like, where we walk in? I'm like, wow, that place is like half empty. There'd be a 10-minute wait. I'm like, what?
There were only like 8 tables. I can't
Yeah.
remember. It was 8 or 10.
But I guess it was because
If you
being
count the
short
ones
staffed.
inside
So,
the bar, it was 10.
Right.
8 outside the bar.
so I get it. And to be honest, like the 10-minute wait was kind of like irritating, I guess, in a way, just because they weren't busy. But he did say we have some new staff in the kitchen, things would be slower. And I don't think it was, once we sat, I don't think it was slower. I thought it was
Yeah.
pretty normal. And it's not it's not their fault. It's
I'm not. That's
but
why
it's just-
I didn't mention the restaurant. We might
Yeah.
have mentioned it earlier, but
No, we didn't
It's
mention
not
it.
about the restaurant.
Yeah.
It's about
And-
the
we won't.
employment. You
Exactly.
know? Like,
and we won't mention the restaurant because they did the best they could and they did a good job. And
that was food was good.
yeah, everything, all that stuff was good.
I'm
It's
just commenting on the fact that there were like 10 tables.
But
out
where did
of,
those
like-
people go?
Well, I don't know. Like that's what I'm saying. If our unemployment is so low, I got it 5 or 7%. Stop looking for jobs, but there's usually always somebody working like a job, like college kids or high school kids looking to make some good tip money.
So where are they? Like one of my friends is like, well, you got to remember, a million people did die in this country of COVID. I'm like, okay, well, it's like 4,000 or 5,000 in New Hampshire, and if you look at the number after that, it's like probably 4,000 of those are, these are just pulling numbers out of my head. So don't, but we're probably like over 80, so over 80-year-olds weren't working at restaurants.
They weren't working at the CNC
No,
shops.
no. Where did the people that normally would be working, where did they go? So they either left this planet,
They left the
In a s-
workforce.
in a spaceship or something, or they're living with their Grammy and Grandpa, or their sister, or in the basement of their mom and dad's house or something. Like, I don't get it.
I don't know. Well, there's a. Yeah, so that could be the case, which it's hard for me to fathom because I have personal pride, which is I don't want anybody taking care of me.
That's a rarity nowadays,
But
unfortunately.
you know what I mean? Like,
yes.
I'm blessed because my wife has a good job, but I also worked my rear end off. I've said it before since I was like, a kid basically,
Right.
all the way through high school to get me to the position that I could retire at a young age.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that I could try to enjoy, which is good, I guess, if people are out there enjoying it, but at the same time, like I wouldn't want to be a burden to my parents after like a certain age. It's like, I appreciate you bringing me up. Now it's my turn to take care of you for what you did for me the last 18 or 21 years.
Yeah. I'd like to say that's how it should be, and I mean it is how it should be. But
Now, don't
I
get me
just-
wrong. I don't want people out there working 20-hour days, like all the time to try to like
No, you should.
survive. Like we
Right.
need to be able to
No.
afford to live. Like
Right.
back in the day, you could have a single parent work. The one could stay at home with the kids, take care of the house, man or wife, whatever, and you'd be just fine. You could own a house, and not doing like some sexy job that's only for college guys. This is like graduate from high school, go get a job at the factory, meet someone nice, get married, start a family, buy you a nice house. Can't do that anymore.
No.
Or it's rare. I'm not saying you can't, but like
It's harder.
taxes, inflation, licensing fees for everything. Gotta go get a license to own that dog.
All right, last quick little blurb of the day here. Harvard law instructor: Scottish justices who overturn Roe versus Wade should never know peace again. It's our civic duty to accost them every time they are in public. And these are the types of people that are teaching your children. Granted, you're going to Harvard Law School. You probably should be a little smarter than listen to these people, but this is just everywhere now. Like,
No,
so harassing justices because you don't get your way on something is a civic duty now, according to this Harvard law instructor.
yeah. I mean, you can go back and look and see how much money Harvard was pulling in from outside U.S. sources, right?
Yeah, I'm sure you can. Which school was it that got caught with a professor in China? Was it Harvard?
Yeah,
It was Harvard.
that's why I looked it up. Dr. Charles Lieber, 60, who is the chair of Harvard's Chemistry and Chemical Biology Department, is accused of lying about working with several Chinese organizations where he collected hundreds of thousands of dollars from Chinese entities, U.S. Attorney Andrew Lelling said at a news conference. And that was taken from a CNN article in 2020.
Yeah. Good times.
Yeah,
Anyways, let's go to a positive meme day and wrap this up. When life is difficult and when everything turns bad, always remember that even a turtle can finish a race as long as he never gives up. Ta-da. Perfect.
I mean, yeah, we got to resort back to children's tales. But it's true, though. You know what I mean? It applies on a lot of things. The cockiness of the hare, the steadfastness of the turtle.
True. Didn't give up.
Just kept trotting along.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for watching today, and have a good day. And, yeah, we'll talk to you tomorrow.